special aid to the Honorable Boakye Agyarko. Francis, ekosi saying ni akwaba.
Medasi pi mini apenyene akwenye ya diamami.
Na ete saying
nyame adom ahoden wo ho megidi se onu atiefo nso ahoden wo ho
nyame adom obia ho ye enti basically from statement enra mu issue ye no na the Honorable Boakye Agyarko wa hohoro ne nsa afi anything presidential election with the NPP ho
no sene yenkrata ni fikire no inti se Obama makwenya kakra ma menkyere nsem ni mu kakra bi na atiefo titru party for inya entiase no
me ma talk to
NPP,
yes
yako Saturday na yako to ya ba special electoral college no yikoyi nipa dodo no na aba enum na yako ba no ebeto odwa se enum na ye hwehwe no afedie yenya ensia na tete e wo se yako runoff na runoff ne ho ntotoye ne ahoboa na igusu a ye ya enra ebeto dwa say National Council akohia na eginatu o mafa ne say runoff ya eba sui nipa 955 a enano memende twam yi omutu ye ni enye omu na ebesa to nemum National Council ekuo no a okan omudodo omu ya akọ 135 omu na ombeto na reason tia omode yesa ne say yedi kan omu say budget constraint sika eni ho sa say yedi beye runoff now the 16 regions ebium amanone officers are omu free amanone ebeto abame mindi twam no National Council susu say dodo na ekọ back intino yenya nipa dodo na amomo meto ebio National Council kan wo brofum say expediency say the ebeye nintem so intino nimiensa reasons miensa intino National Council say 135 National Council members spending the beto
na meba menia sa reasons miensa na woma asisia no where did you get them from
the General Secretary's press engagement
in someone in some trofo kan no
me pachwane
because I have the official statement a General Secretary in Sasha in front of me. But in this statement, wama reasons be you are saying say
I'm quoting the General Secretary from the press engagement or Enra.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yansaka press engagement no and you responded to the chairman of the elections committee say Adia say a National Council aye unfair and then it is an act of injustice. Isan say there is an agreed guidelines yediko election and then you don't change the guidelines in the middle of the game. Yenya and to be say yako general election December 7th. Na say akoba ne say NPP and NDC yako runoff. Na electoral commission abase Ghana for runoff ya yekwe tikeni ho runoff ya yekwe yenyan mom frama no ne babeto no mo sa akọ runoff ya yekwe ni ntemu ntunti no mo amoto aba edikan no enyem na mbeto runoff na emum ye di kuo bi to say parliamentarians for eneto runoff no e ba sa se Ghana for enye yede se bia na akosi wo NPP mu San Sentina Eii Boakye Agyarko Quits chairman of the elections committee say NPP yebeye nhwe ha ma yebu yankasa yemra so edemra ahye nsem dia enye na Eii Boakye Agyarko ompese odinitin anata ne ho ebetwitwiri enwoma bi sei intino watwe ne ho afri about 17 so montoa so na munye maba at the end of the day no oye party ni oda so party na bibia o se oyebua party be bekoso aye sene oye ne sa no na we dey me de manu si na me to question ba ko atum say say 4th November ye beto na ye flag bearer
sure
say ye to na se no se ko run off National Council ne beto e decide ana
That's an interesting question, but is it not something the constitution of the party? Because if you look at provision, a share party necessarily omunya aspirants more than 5, omunya super delegate conference. That provision did not contemplate say a tie a constitutional provision and can be emfa a possible runoff and what the party should do. And according to the party, elections committee, and a day process I said there would be a runoff. Even the elections committee rules, they just ended. I said there will be a runoff. Oman can procedure and what will go into that runoff. And National Council feels there is a lacuna, which lacuna the same constitution authorizes them or empowers them to deal with. And now, how the runoff will be done, why do you have a problem with that?
All right, let's agree. Say yes, national councils make regulations where the constitution does not speak directly to. Yes, but then again, don't you think it's unfair to say that? Oma 955 now they are not going to vote for the runoff. Name a subsection of that 955 assuming the role or the functions of the 955 now to last Saturday. In any case, when there is an election and there comes a runoff, runoff.
Yeah, and some can argue say when there is an election na runoff bar, there are rules about govern that particular election. If in that rules it's stated in black and white say runoff bar, the same people at and the sign atwa, there is a point. When in the regulation governing the election, that regulation says when there is a tie, there will be a runoff. And stating in black and white who will vote in that runoff. Can you then assume, omo eto ye na chinchina chen also omo sign to runoff no? And now mo constitution in National Council kwan say looking at the exigencies of the time, the prevailing circumstances, National Council can decide say okay, runoff ye ntimi nka say ye be runoff no by kwan ye be fa so aye. Can the National Council take that decision?
Before I answer that, let me draw your attention to some of the arguments a buyer, a man runoff, a share your guidelines. Prior to the elections, some of the presidential aspirants made propositions say, "Yen use a composite ballot. Statistically, it will be impossible for a runoff." And to say the a national vice chairman abana o selected 3. No selected 3. In that case, statistically, we are there runoff intimate, just like how our committee abano. Statistically, runoff
Okay.
All these provisions were made. They were suggested to the elections committee. That is where they brought in the case. Say, yankotuno 1:1. Now say ebane say, Ebimo enya banibia, then we will go for a runoff. And ordinarily, say a kotuaba na se runoff bar. Omo kotu first oma ne to runoff no. But here is the case, people are arguing say, now, because the law is silent on that, National Council can pass a sub-guideline, and I say an addendum, to change the rules of the game and say only National Council for which is a subsection of the Special College per NN Court. First of all, it is an unfair treatment. It is an act of injustice. Because National Council 435 cannot assume the role and position of 955 for Omokoto last Saturday.
You could see saying on Asempa FM.
Because of the enyese number ni keke, but I just say National Council change rules no midway and or boss ewo problem with, right?
Yes, he feels it is an act of injustice and then it is not fair. Violation of the guidelines. Into know if that is what is going to happen this Saturday, and yeah, watching him away from.
But is your boss also minded, say, realistically, say, Oshe, the cost implications any idea at the end of the day, a tie, and that tie has to be broken for one person to join 4 na akano. And when there is within that democratic space, if there is any formula to break that tie, which would be an election of a sort, any idea, why should your boss be worried? Looking at the cost complaints, almost saying it was 17 voting centers, delegate all of those considerations, why is your boss not minded by those considerations as well?
First of all, there was an election guideline which stated if there is a runoff, it will be held on 2nd September, which also means elections committee ain't means sorry preoccupy and for dating she says a runoff bar you better that say. It means elections committee omaya hoboa to order that. Because I believe that someone ya who want to among cofa date and measure say run of bar you better say. Enti adia mabuamu ama date say run of any bibian untimi mbaba say to say this can you ho. Enti no young kwano kakrani ema nipa kuma bi na ento.
Wow. Even if nipa kuma ni bi kra toa Sani Pakumana would help the party break that tie, Still,
it is unfair for Nipakuma be say Omune Betu Abano on behalf of the 955 delegates.
Very well. The Honorable Boakye Agyarko says still, I know he's a member of the NPP and he will continue doing his best to support the party, right?
No, correct.
But as far as this elections is concerned, we're pulling out.
Watching every home. But then again, it was a letter directed the office of the chairman of the elections committee. Into we are still waiting for
a response from them.
Exactly.
It is a response, based on the response, Obos beat me as a son adjoin.
A brave response by into let's hold on, say response in Beba. Then whatever that happens, Biano, you Beba Betuja.
Bana a letter Mode Kwakoma chairman of the elections committee. Namu hope is a response Bebano. So when they ask him what to do, because he's already made up his mind. We're making a decision that irrespective of the reasons the elections committee chairman would give, on a wakase process, errant decision, unconstitutional, and that we're refraining from the entire runoff. Ain't really what response be on a most high train from the committee chairman?
At the end of the day, in the letter, we cited some unfair treatment. And so, if for nothing at all, the president, the chairman of the Presidential Elections Committee should reply so that we will know the justification for some of these unfair treatment I cited to a letter.
Apart from, because I know, sir, your boss or you'll be a stickler for due process, for excellence, making sure say Bibia aye pepe. Is he minded, after withdrawing, in order not to allow for the perpetuation of an illegality, is he minded to want to test this in court? Because I've heard different arguments. Say National Council was our power. Some have also said, delegates be our toaba in the super delegate conference. He again has the right to be part of the runoff, a voting right which is guaranteed by the Constitution, and the human rights issue and all of that. Is your boss minded to want to test this whole thing in court?
Ukraine, there hasn't been any plan, say, ye be test asem yi e wo court.
Okay, mundi sa nkomo no.
Indi sa nkomo no.
Very well. Ma menase inti bibia ni a will come back and talk to you. Why, Francis?
Me that for the opportunity.
Yeah, that's Pa Francis Opon Owusu, a special aid to the Honorable Boakye Agyarko, and I'm going to say,